In a film that critiques social inequality and the ultra-wealthy people that were born and raised in a life of privilege, it's a natural choice that the heroine would be from an immigrant background. The film's opening shot is of the Thrombey Manor, and not long afterwards we see an exterior of the apartment building where Marta lives with her mum and sister. It's worth noting that the film repeatedly shows how Marta's mobile phone screen is cracked. A person basking in wealth and obsessed with appearing wealthy would have gotten that fixed or replaced right away. A person who isn't as financially well off and doesn't come from money is less likely to see repairing or replacing a cracked phone screen as a priority. The cracked screen is purely an aesthetic flaw. Who cares about aesthetics when the device is still functional and thus fulfills its purpose? The contrast between these families isn't just about a difference in wealth, but a cultural one as well. Marta has a job as a nurse, so she could presumably pay to live in an apartment of her own, but instead we see a more collectivistic dynamic in this family where they stay together, look out for one another, and have a close emotional bond. Conversely, the Thrombeys are far more individualistic. Richard is delighted to see Walt and Harlan disagreeing. Richard and Walt fight, if you can call it that. Ransom doesn't get along particularly well with any of them. There are a number of different instances of people in the Thrombey family talking badly about one another, backstabbing, betraying, scamming. The list goes on and on. They only really start to be more unified when they have an other they see as a threat that they want to attack. The other being Marta, of course.
You can count on us.
The dynamic between Marta and the various members of this family always has this underlying sense of unease. The only one she ever really has an authentic emotional connection to is Meg. This is often communicated non-verbally, particularly in the physicality of these characters. Look at how awkward and impersonal these hugs are between Marta and Linda, and Marta and Walt, compared to how it is with Meg. Plus, there's Richard with his "come here so you can be a prop to my ignorant xenophobic point in this argument," but also, "Here, take my plate because stereotypes dictate that you're the help," even though Marta is a nurse with all of the scientific knowledge and medical training that goes with that. Marta's intelligence is an important part of her characterization and the larger mystery that plays out. Since she has a medical condition that causes her to throw up if she tells a lie, she is being challenged even more to be able to cover up the murder she believes she inadvertently committed. For one, she has to remember the lengthy instructions given to her by Harlan of what steps to take immediately after leaving him, so she can try to remove herself from the pool of possible suspects.
Was it before or after?
After the carved elephant.
No, he said before. Was it?
The after for the carved elephant. Climb the side trellis and come in through the trick hall window.
You gotta be kidding me.
I am not. Do it.
I also really love this quiet moment she has after she tries one more time to get help for Harlan. It has a cool ambiguity that fits really well from a first-time watch to the eventual rewatches. The first time you watch, you are able to wonder if there's a twist lying in wait that perhaps Marta actually did orchestrate Harlan's death. And this theory could also fit when Marta comes home and sits with her mom, and we get this loud, dramatic reveal that there's blood on her shoe. You might theorize that Marta deliberately killed Harlan to inherit his fortune in order to provide for her family. However, once you've seen the entire film and you know with absolute certainty that Marta is innocent, this moment of quiet reflection instead conveys her resolve that she can't just give up, because she does care about her family, so if she goes down, they will go down with her, particularly since her mom is an undocumented immigrant. Marta has a good heart, and this is repeatedly referenced throughout the film.
Does having a kind heart make you a good nurse?
Hey, wait, Detective, why me?
I trust your kind heart. Well, I have my opinion, but I have a feeling you'll follow your heart.
This is her most defining characteristic, and it's central to the film's main message, which is that a person's worth should be about how they treat others, not their wealth, cultural background, or the labor they can offer to those who hold the most power in society. Marta's story starts off as being about trying to cover up a murder, but when given the opportunity to get away with potentially incriminating evidence, she instead stayed to perform CPR on Fran and call for an ambulance to save her life.
What is that?
Why can't I beat you at this game?
Because I'm not playing to beat you. I'm playing to build a beautiful pattern.
I'll admit I had to watch this film more than once before I really understood how significant this line was. This is not just a throwaway bit of filler dialogue to pass the time while Harlan and Marta are playing Go before everything goes wrong. This line informs you of the fundamental difference between Marta and the Thrombies. Philosophically speaking, their approach to life and the way that they treat others around them is presented right here. The Thrombies play to win. They want to get one over on each other, and anyone that they see as beneath them, whether it's because of their wealth, ethnicity, or general selfishness. Marta, however, represents the completely opposite approach to life. Her kind heart creates a beautiful pattern in the ways she interacts with others. She became Harlan's friend when he needed one in the midst of being surrounded by a mostly toxic family. She gathered her strength and wits to try to save herself in order to save her family, just like Harlan instructed her to. She forgave Meg when she succumbed to the pressures of her family. She saved Fran instead of running away with her medical bag. She told Detective Blanc everything when she realized that too many people were getting hurt by her roundabout lies, and consequently called up the Thrombies to tell them the truth and give the inheritance back.
And if Marta had not outplayed you once again by having a kind heart, you won not by playing the game Harlan's way, but yours.
Marta wins specifically because to her, life is not just a game to play in which you can only win if it's at the expense of others.
I keep waiting for the big reveal, where it'll make sense.
As is customary with every whodunit, everything builds up to a big reveal. I really like the pacing choice to have things continue to escalate and then quiet back down before we jump back into the action, with a reveal that not all is as it has seemed up until that point. Though the audience has been privy to a significant amount of information that a lot of the other characters have not been aware of, now is when we are treated to a long speech from Benoit Blanc that uncovers what has only been cryptically hinted at up until this point. It all starts when he reads the recovered copy of the toxicology report and berates the Thrombey family for how they've treated Marta, and even manages to slip in a mention of the film's title in the process.
You're a pack of vultures at the feast. Knives out, beaks bloody.
As I've stated before, Benoit Blanc is an eccentric character. That's part of his charm. His recurring tendency to talk through his process by using holes in donuts as a way of externalizing his search for the truth is hilarious. I was particularly delighted when I heard Rian Johnson say that he almost cut the donut monologue in the big reveal, but that Daniel was the one who convinced him not to.
We are not done, and now we're ramping into this final kind of push. The donut monologue is part of that also. The fact that Daniel attacks this with the veracity that he does is what really makes it work. On the page, I thought this donut monologue was just kind of silly, and I almost cut it. And Daniel convinced me not to, and then when I saw on set what he had planned for it with this fervor in his eyes and this excitement.
Rian Johnson's collaborative creative process is something I deeply appreciate because despite how brilliant he is, his lack of ego and his willingness to accept input and perspectives from other people ultimately results in the film being better. One example of this is the plot detail of Marta giving Harlan the correct medication because she's a good nurse.
You gave him the correct medication because you are a good nurse.
So in early drafts, I had had that she mixed the vials up accidentally just because she had spilled them. This idea that she had subconsciously given him the correct one or mixed them up because she's a good nurse. This is an idea that two dear friends of mine, Dan and Stacey Sheridan, who are a screenwriting team, who are the first ones I show every script to, they're so smart. That was a note that they had. That's something they pitched to me. And I'm so happy that we did it. It just gives this beautiful little grace note to the whole switch up. up with Marta and the incident.
Another example of this is the way Rian shifted his entire approach to how the final reveal would be filmed. If you check the timestamps on the film, you will see that there's almost a half hour left when Benoit Blanc starts to unveil the big reveal. The majority of the dialogue during this is coming from one actor, Daniel Craig. Despite the incredibly stylish approach to cinematography and editing throughout this film, Rian Johnson decided to completely scrap his original plan of having intricate shots to instead utilize more long shots on Daniel because of how he had prepared to perform this.
So Daniel had this entire last 30 minutes of the movie, this whole denouement, everything, all of this, he had this all down cold, as if it were a stage play. He could have gone on the stage and performed this entire thing straight through. And I came in with like all these little intricate shots. After day one, I completely threw them out and started reconfiguring all of my shots to, if you pay attention to the shots, there aren't that many of them, of Daniel. And they hold him for as long as possible. And we'll pan with him. And what I was trying to do is give him the most amount of runway possible to do bigger and bigger chunks of this whole monologue. Because I realized he could, like a stage actor, he'd build up a head of steam. And the longer I let him go, the more I let him do at once, the better it was.
This is an iconic climax to an iconic film. The journey that Daniel Craig takes you on is such a roller coaster in the best way. Every detail in the writing, acting, cinematography, and music is exquisite. I love the way the cinematography changes as it calls back to Ransom telling Marta he will help her.
And you're not gonna give up the money. You're not gonna give up the money.
You're not gonna give up the money.
You've come this far.
You come this far.
Where once it was still, now it's zooming in on him quickly as it cuts back and forth to the camera getting increasingly closer to Daniel Craig's face. The pan to Benoit Blanc doing this dramatic spin is one of my favorite shots of the film. The slow motion and dolly zoom when Ransom tries to attack Marta is fantastic. All of this beautifully closes the chapter on Marta's heroic journey and reinforces that she is a good nurse with a kind heart. Best of all, everything comes full circle in the end with Harlan's warm smile and his coffee mug to punctuate that the wealth has been redistributed to someone truly deserving of it based on their personal character instead of nepotism. It makes me so indescribably happy to watch Knives Out every time I watch it. It has revitalized the whodunit for a contemporary audience. It intelligently critiques the way class inequality manifests and is enabled by socially regressive ideologies. It's funny, it's heartwarming, and it's so incredibly stylish. If you're not new to my channel, then you know that stylish filmmaking will always boost my overall impression of a film. I am so happy for Rian Johnson to have achieved so much success with an entirely original story. And I'm also really happy for Daniel Craig, since you can tell he has had so much fun playing this character that he'll undoubtedly love continuing to play. And he doesn't have to get beat up while doing it. Don't come at me. He's my favorite James Bond, but I'm just saying, he could keep playing Benoit Blanc until he's 80-something years old, as long as the inspiration for the stories is still there. If you've made it this far, I hope you had fun revisiting Knives Out with me. I'm sure I've gone completely overboard with professing my adoration for this film. Be sure to like this video since it really helps out my channel, and comment down below of the names of the people you would like to see in the Knives Out sequel. Psst, Rian. Put some Asians in your film. Henry Golding. Put Henry Golding in your film. I need this for science. Subscribe for more videos, and if you are new here, feel free to go to my channel profile where I have a playlist on display that has some of my other film and TV reviews that you can check out to get an idea of what it is that I do on here. Knives Out was definitely one of my favorite films of 2019, alongside Dr. Sleep, which was an amazing film that a lot of people slept on, though it seems like more people are watching it now that it has been added to the roster of HBO Max. Does anyone want me to do a Dr. Sleep video? Because I'm definitely open to that. If I do make that though, I cannot make it as long as this one though, because this was a massive undertaking that I completely put on myself. Nobody asked for me to do this. Nobody asked for it to be this long. I just couldn't help myself. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye. And no arguing about The Last Jedi in the comments.
Rian, I did not know his work. I hadn't seen Brick. I'd seen Star Wars, loved it. Don't.
Stop it. You.
Don't be a hater. Just relax. Breathe.
Hi. I've been working on this video essay for months, and while I was editing, I noticed a detail that I had not included in my script when I first wrote it. And I thought about letting it go, but then I thought, well, if I'm going to be thorough and make the longest video essay I've ever made to date, I might as well see it through to the end. When Marta visits Ransom to show him the blackmail note she received, there are shots of his hands holding that note and pointing at it. In the background, you can just make out the New Yorker sitting on the coffee table. This is significant because Ransom found Benoit Blanc because of his New Yorker profile, and that was how he decided that this was the detective he wanted to hire in the hopes of getting Marta convicted for Harlan's death. Truly, Knives Out is the gift that keeps on giving. If you made it all the way to the end and you happen to know Rian Johnson personally, be sure to tell him I said thank you.